G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back of course to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope all is good in your part of the world. Watch review today of the Cabot watches, CWC RN, upside down, RN300 QM60 83. This is just off the bat, this isn't one of the new versions. This one hails from back in, let me just find the box, cover up the original customer's name, back in 2022. You can see that they've also changed the naming convention. It's switched the other way around on their websites at the moment. But anyway, you can see packaging also slightly different. The other thing to bear in mind is that that new version online, I think the last time I saw it, cost around £899 in the UK. And where else was I going to go? Yeah, a little bit of history. You know the name Cabot watches, but you might not know that the Cabot reference actually from the brand name comes from John Cabot, or Cabot, who, despite his limey sounding name, was a Venetian sailor who lived in the UK and sailed across the Atlantic in the 1400s or something like that. If my my memory serves me well, my name, I was thinking the name, is it Newfoundland he went to or something like that? Anyway, correct me down below because I typically get things wrong. Been wanting to have a look at one of these for quite some time, because yeah, they've kind of surged in popularity. I think, you know, global popularity. They've been in movies recently, and that certainly wasn't the same back in the 80s and 90s. They've got a very mixed following though. All you need to do is read a few watch blogs and the split is very clear. On the one hand, you know, people who absolutely love these things, you know, their favorite tool watches, you know, they're sort of Spartan, understated, etc. And people love them for like that. And there's everyone else in the other camp who really does have a serious issue questioning the price value equation. You know, that seems to be their biggest bugbear, but I'll try and drill down into that a little bit as we go on. Let's just zoom in a fraction. Alrighty, so let's kick off with some key specs. They are 41 mils across, so perfect diameter, but that pulls out to around 45 mils if you include the crown. North to south, again, it is a very manageable 46 mils, and then the case body is about 12 mils deep. You then it comes on 20 mil lugs, and obviously, as you can see, these are fixies. So strap options are slightly more limited perhaps than your standard spring bars. They come then with, as you would have probably seen on the dial then, no, it's not on this one, 300 meters worth of watery goodness. And the thing that I like about the dimensions on these is that they really do slip under cuffs very comfortably. And that, to me, I think for a military inspired watch, a military heritage watch, is a big factor, especially when you're kitted up. The last thing you need is you know, an 18 mil chunk on your wrist that you can't get, that's catching on every bit of kit, rucksack straps, etc. as you're getting it on. But on the other hand, the upside I think about the size of the specs is, as well, is that should you decide to wear it over a sleeve, then legibility is clear enough on it that you can still see it functioning very well indeed. Again, being a slightly older version back in 2022, this has mineral glass up top, whereas the new versions have now been upgraded to sapphire. I'm not sure if this is an upgrade with the new ones, but this original one then comes with an ETA high power quartz, whereas the new ones come with a sort of value package Ronda. But again, more on that in a second. So I think, yeah, well, no, let's talk about it now. Where the discussion on price value stems from is that the new version, as I say, it costs around £900, and it features a $10 quartz movement. And I'm not dissing quartz watches. I have many of them. I absolutely love them, and really do, you know, prefer them in many environments. But yes, the watch hobby is also rarely sensible, but I still hold that pricing should be more closely related to the movement. And I think brands really do themselves a disservice by pushing up prices without upgrading movements. It's been a common theme on the channel for a while now. It's a hot topic, but I've been thinking about it. And the other thing that I think about it as well is that I think it's a slightly, you know, it's a contributory factor in the appeal of AliEx watches. My thoughts, as always, just my ramblings. Look forward to hearing your thoughts down below. Onto the dial. As a heritage recreation, again, I don't think you need me to tell you that it is an incredibly good looking watch. I think the simplicity of the dial design and the excellent legibility from multiple angles are exemplary. Again, simple aspect of that is that the 369 digits on the dial, I mean, historical brilliance, and it's about as divey as you're going to get. And I like that these versions also then don't have the date, because it just, completes the symmetry, allows it to be, super balanced on everything, and leaves it uncluttered. You will notice as well that it's still got the T, the circle, the T, on here, referring obviously to tritium lume. Something that I didn't quite understand, and I'll put it up here so you can comment. The CWC website says that tritium is no longer available. I kind of make the case that that's not exactly accurate. One thing to note is that the MOD spec sheet later on, I understand, allowed for the circle L, obviously to indicate lume, and that was used on later models. The quartz text down here above the 6, probably my only criticism of the dial. I think it's just a little bit too big. They could have shrunk the font. But again, it's just, I think it's just in keeping with what many watch brands like doing, putting automatic and quartz on there. You will also notice that you've got a slight photina aspect going on here with the colouring of the hour markers, and also then around the bezel. I don't object to it specifically, but the one thing that you do notice is that there's a little bit of a color mismatch between the hour markers and the font and the paint around here, and then that of the hands themselves. As you can see, they are white with the infill, whereas the markers then, as I say, have got that slight photina tinge to them. So again, no, they were going for the retro more with this particular version. Another thing that I do like talking about the hands, again, the sword hands on here, again, super clean, clear, and you just get that tiny flourish on the seconds hand there with that little lume triangle in the center. So the seconds hand, as you can see, you don't need me to tell you, but again, just draw your attention to how it hits the minute markers as it goes around here. And again, I think because this is the ETA movement, it is considerably better at that job than the newer Ronda will be. Again, thoughts down below, please, on that one. While we're talking about the hour markers and hands, etc., the lume looks like this. It's pretty damn decent. And one of the things that I really like about it is the loomed numbers on the bezel. I just think that's, the way they've only loomed those, I think it's just absolutely fantastic. It just adds another bit of visual eye candy. And then just for your other eye candy benefit, here it is up against my helm, which is a much, a brighter blue, but just to give you a little bit of comparison. Coming back to that bezel, it's a 60 clicker, and the action sounds absolutely superb. It's kind of industrial, but I do like playing with it. It's yes, it's beyond perhaps that maiden farting, isn't it? It's become something else that's farting. There is a little bit of bounce to the action here, and again, a little bit of wiggle. In some respects, it kind of reminds me of the bezels on the Citizen EcoZilla. It's kind of that industrial aspect to it. As I say, a bit bouncy and a bit loose, but again, I think it's sort of in keeping with the watch history, and I kind of like it actually, which is odd for me because ordinarily I would probably have issue with it, but on this one I'm willing to forgive it. The one thing is that the bezel knurling isn't incredibly deep or grooved, but I think there's enough space, at the 12 and 6, for you to get your fingers on to get some purchase. This case body on here. Let me get rid of the strappage here so you can get a full view of the case body. Notice the original owner didn't bother taking the sticker off the back. Again, quite common with some of us gentlemen, and digits on there, as you would expect. And what I wanted to say is, obviously, this is apart from the fingerprints, this is all polished. The The newer versions as well, you've got the option of having an all matte, a polished sides, top matte, etc. So you've got different options on styling that case. You just need to be quite quick on picking them up, because they do release them in fairly small numbers. The crown over here, again, superb, well protected in those crown guards, and again, it's very accessible. And the one thing that I liked about it is, again, your action here on that and that is really nice and affirmative. Again, very reassuring and comfortable to use, but it's got a nice tension to it. I haven't felt that in watches in quite a while, and it's interesting. The fixies, as I say, do kind of limit your strap options just a little bit. And yeah, I liked reading about all the stories about people, you know, who were issued fixies and then cut them out and then put their own spring bars in because they didn't like them. And it seems a lot of brands are going back to the fixies, you know, Tudor and others. So yeah, quite interesting. I'm not a massive fan of NATO type straps. If you're a regular to the channel, you already know that. And I think one of the straps that I think this would look good on is a Forstner bonk clip. Yes, I'm a blasphemer. Sorry, stone me at the next stoning event, but I just think that would look kind of cool. These were designed to be true tool watches, so one should measure expectations accordingly. And what I'm referring to there is that it's not refined with micro level attention to detail. And as you can see, can you see? You can just see here on the lug ends where the finishing there is perhaps a little bit basic, a bit brusque. But I kind of like that, and I think it's in keeping with the nature of the watch. So yeah, you can see where your fixies have been you know, filed off at the edges. And again, it's not, as I say, it's not entirely refined, but that's not the purpose of it. If you want refined, you know, look elsewhere. The brand name clearly has some historical DNA, and as a dive watch, this has enough backstory, I think, that's really going to make you grin. Will they upgrade the movements, you know, to a $20 quartz movement in the future to reflect the £900 price point? I doubt it. Don't hold your breath, but God, I really wish they would do. Anyway, those, as always, are my rambles and thoughts. Over to you guys for your feedback, commentary. Really look forward to reading that down below. Thanks as always for your time and for your view, and we'll catch you all in the next vid. Cheers, guys.